Olivia just couldn't get into work mode. Every time she tried to focus on the report, the phone would ring or the secretary would barge in with a new set of instructions from the boss. She hadn't even finished that thought when Grace Thompson appeared in the doorway. The old saying popped into Olivia's head, "Speak of the devil, and he shall appear." Of course, she didn't dare say it out loud. Grace Thompson was a respected figure. At the utility office, people jokingly called her the power behind the throne, because the boss let her make top-level decisions on her own. Outsiders were often baffled by the arrangement. In most people's minds, a secretary was supposed to be a young, stylish woman, admired more for her looks than her brains. Grace was the complete opposite. On a scale of 1 to 10, her looks barely scored a 2, but she was sharp as a tack. And that, most likely, was exactly why the boss valued her so much. Grace walked in with measured steps and said in a flat, robotic voice, "Good morning, Olivia." Olivia barely held herself back from jumping up like a student caught unprepared. Grace really did give off strict teacher vibes. Trying to stay calm, Olivia greeted her warmly. "Morning, Grace. I take it this isn't just a social visit?" The secretary cut off Olivia's cheerful tone with a single look, then added, "I don't waste time wandering around the office like some people." Olivia considered pointing out that the term office had long replaced the outdated word comptoir, but wisely chose not to risk annoying the formidable woman. Instead, she beamed with polite enthusiasm. "Please, have a seat, Grace. As they say, no need to stand on ceremony." Grace's thin eyebrows twitched slightly, but her tone remained as flat as ever. "I don't have time to sit in other people's offices. Theodore Williams will be back soon from his meeting. He asked me to tell you to process the paperwork for a new hire starting today." Olivia's mood took an instant nosedive. Staff turnover in their little organization was constant. People barely got hired before they were handing in their resignation letters. Sure, the law didn't forbid it, but for Olivia, it meant more unnecessary work. Without her usual cheer, she asked, "So, who is it this time? One of the boss's friends?" For the first time in the conversation, Grace sighed, a very human reaction that made her seem less like a machine. "It's a woman. I don't know how she got to Theodore Williams, but he told me personally to make sure she gets the job." Olivia realized this wouldn't be a simple task. She decided to ask for more details. "You do realize, Grace, we don't have many openings, mostly janitors and maintenance crew." Grace grimaced. "No, that won't do. Theodore Williams said she's to take Galena Patterson's position." Olivia blinked in surprise. "Wait, Galena's leaving?" "Theodore Williams decided to make her his deputy." "That's that," Grace declared, rapping a bony finger on the desk for emphasis. Still standing, and clearly in control of the situation, Grace looked down at Olivia, who was simmering with irritation, then turned and marched out with a military precision. Once she was gone, Olivia finally let out her frustration. "Unbelievable. The secretary knows everything before I do. I'm the last to find out about staffing changes. Maybe I don't even belong here anymore," she blurted out, only to catch herself, afraid the words might somehow come true. Just in case, she spat over her left shoulder, an old habit her mother had taught her, and muttered, "God spare me from disasters. I don't want a repeat of the things I'm trying to forget." She tried to focus on work again, but right then, her mother called. Rebecca Mitchell asked gently, "Hey, sweetie. Are you busy?" "Not too much. What's up?" "Kind of early for a call, isn't it?" Her mother usually called in the evening, so Olivia was surprised. There was some rustling on the line, then Rebecca's energetic voice said, "I just had to warn you. I had a dream last night, it felt prophetic. Don't ask me why, but Mariana appeared in it. She was barefoot, dressed in rags, her face smeared with soot and blood. I knew it was just a dream, but it was so terrifying I woke up in a cold sweat. As soon as it got light, I ran to see Aunt Nancy and borrowed her dream dictionary. I'm flipping through it now, trying to figure out what it all means. The mystery of the strange background noise was solved, and Olivia burst out laughing. "Mom, since when are you into dream magic?" Rebecca scoffed. "Don't mix apples and oranges. Dream interpretation is called aneurology. The occult is a whole different thing." The sound of pages rustling came through the receiver again. Her mother was flipping through that magical book she'd borrowed from their elderly neighbor. Olivia had long stopped being surprised by her mom's deep dives into random topics, but since she didn't believe in prophetic dreams herself, she tried to calm her down. "Mom, you're an educated woman, remember? You went to college, and yet you believe in this stuff. Dreams aren't messages from beyond. It's just your brain sorting through memories while you sleep, piecing together realistic little slideshows from the past." Rebecca Mitchell protested, clearly offended. "What past?" Mariana showed up in rags. "It's not like she walked around like that back in the day." "All right, let's drop it. Believe what you want, your call. Just tell me, when are you coming to visit?" That topic, her upcoming vacation, was much more pleasant. Olivia responded optimistically. "The boss hasn't approved my leave yet, but I don't think it'll be a problem. And if something comes up, I'll send Sophia to you anyway. She's been begging to see Grandma." Rebecca cut her off, voice warm with longing. "Oh, I miss her so much. Feels like I haven't seen her in a year. I bet she's grown. Oh, you don't even know. She's shooting up like a weed. Sometimes I look at her and wonder how she even stays upright." Her mom reassured her. "Don't worry, we'll fatten her up. I already talked to Aunt Nancy. She still keeps a cow. I'll get fresh milk for Sophia." Olivia couldn't help but picture it, dream interpretation and farm fresh milk in the same breath. Only in Millbrook, the small town where her parents lived, could those two things coexist without raising eyebrows. The call left Olivia feeling nostalgic. She leaned back in her chair, closed her eyes, and let herself drift for a minute or two. Then, like a change in air pressure, she sensed she wasn't alone. Even though she hadn't heard the door open, a strange presence pulled her out of her trance. She opened her eyes and took a deep breath, like she was diving underwater. A woman stood near the door, completely still, as if frozen in place. Her age was hard to tell. What caught Olivia's attention first was the outdated dress and a ridiculous sun hat that shadowed the top half of her face. The woman's sudden, silent appearance made Olivia uneasy, and it showed in her voice. "Can I help you?" The woman in the hat nodded. Olivia took the opportunity to remind her of basic manners. Polite people knock before entering. You snuck in like a thief. Then, thinking the woman might not even know what that old-fashioned word meant, she added. In the old days, thief was used to describe robbers. The woman replied calmly. I know what it means. The door was open, so I came in. Her voice struck a familiar chord in Olivia's mind, but the unpleasant first impression overrode any curiosity. She just wanted the conversation to end. If I'm not mistaken, you're the woman Mr. Williams promised a job to. Yes, that's me. Olivia felt a sharp pang in her chest. Keeping her eyes fixed on her desk, she said in her most official tone. Here's your referral. First, you'll need to pass a medical checkup. After that, I'll process your paperwork. The woman didn't move. Olivia was starting to feel irritated by her odd behavior. Ma'am, come here, take the form, and you're free to go. Or do you expect me to escort you to the doctor's office just because Theodore Williams put in a word for you? Instead of answering, the woman suddenly let out a choked sob and pulled off her sun hat. Olivia, don't you recognize me? Have I changed that much? Olivia froze. Of all people, this was the last one she'd expected to see today, the one who had once been her personal nightmare. A cold shiver ran down her spine. She whispered. Mariana, you really are hard to recognize. But I don't understand, why are you here? Last time I saw you, you had everything. A job, a place to live, a man who loved you. Mariana started explaining hesitantly. Please don't think I came here just to find you. I didn't even know you were in this town. I had nowhere else to go. My mom's aunt lives here. I thought she might take us in, me and Christopher. But Patricia Archer said her place is too small. 1 bedroom. No room to breathe. She let us stay one night and then asked Theodore Williams to help me with a job and housing. She kept talking, but all Olivia could hear was the pounding in her head. That dream, it was starting to make sense. After laying out her sob story, Mariana slowly approached the desk and took the referral. Just before leaving, she turned back, hesitant. Don't you want to know what happened to Kevin? And why I'm really here? In a flat, emotionless voice, Olivia said. I have no interest. Kevin's been dead to me for a long time. Same goes for you. And from now on, Mariana, I don't want you trying to be part of my life. In fact, it'd be best for both of us to pretend we don't even know each other. Mariana let out a nervous laugh, about to say something, but Olivia raised her voice. Enough. I've said what I needed to say. This conversation is over. Don't waste my time. Mariana slipped out the door without a sound, but her presence lingered in the room like a ghost. Olivia flung the window open, hoping the spring breeze would blow away the sudden apparition from her past. Sometimes it's the small things, moments that seem unimportant, that end up changing everything. We don't always realize it at the time. Only years later do we look back and see where it all began. For Olivia, it took years to understand that her life had turned a corner that one fateful morning, when her mother came bursting through the door, shaken by someone else's tragedy. Millbrook, the town where her parents still lived in peace and harmony, couldn't exactly be called a backwater. It had everything needed for a decent, comfortable life. Her father worked as a mechanic at a local transportation company, and her mother was employed at a poultry plant. By local standards, they earned pretty well. Their home lacked for nothing. Rebecca Mitchell would regularly go through their belongings, often with Olivia's help. They packed up old clothes and household items in boxes, and her mom always found a way to give them new purpose. She had a tender spot for those in need and would often say, "Olivia, your old winter coat's in that box. The Watson family could use it. They're struggling, and they've got 3 kids." Daniel Mitchell would chuckle warmly at his wife's soft heart. "Rebecca, you've got enough love for everyone, but even you can't save the whole world." She always had a comeback. Christ had only 5 loaves and 2 fish, and he still fed thousands. "Oh, look at you now, trying to outdo Christ himself." Daniel would tease her playfully, hoping to rile her up. But Rebecca never took the bait. No one can do what he did. But we can all give a little. Kindness is endless. There's enough to go around. She meant every word. That's why people loved her, at work, around town. When someone was in trouble, she was the first one they turned to. One summer morning, Rebecca Mitchell had left for work just after sunrise. But barely an hour later, she came rushing back, out of breath. Daniel was sitting down to breakfast and looked up, startled. "Rebecca, what happened? You look like you were being chased by wild dogs." Instead of answering, she shouted, "Olivia! Get up! I need your help." Daniel frowned. "Why are you dragging the kid out of bed? Let her sleep, it's her break." But his wife's yelling had already woken Olivia, and she reluctantly dragged herself out from under the covers. "Mom, what's going on? You're louder than the radio." She shuffled toward the kitchen, still groggy and grumbling under her breath. "Rebecca, can you explain what's going on like a normal person? Was there a robbery at the plant or something?" Her mother replied with a sigh. You and your nonsense, Daniel. The poultry plant's fine, it's not going anywhere. Do you remember the Cooper family? Daniel furrowed his brow. The ones on Red Alley? Yeah. Their house burned down last night. Nothing left. Everything's gone. Daniel shook his head in disbelief. Oh no. That's terrible. Did they get out at least? Catherine and their daughter managed to escape, but Victor, he had to be pulled out by rescue workers. They took him to the hospital. No one knows if he'll make it. All because of his drinking. Catherine's always saying he drinks too much and gets violent. Her parents fell into a deep conversation about Victor Cooper, a man known more for his drunken behavior than for anything good. Olivia remembered Mariana. They'd gone to school together, in parallel classes. She never really got close to the quiet, withdrawn girl. But after sharing the full story, her mom turned to Olivia and gave her a clear order. We've got to help. They ran out of that house with nothing but the clothes on their backs. Check your closet, Olivia, see if there's anything you don't wear anymore. Mariana's slim, your things should fit her. Olivia went to carry out her mother's request, feeling a genuine pang of sympathy for the fire victims. Her mother wanted to take the donated clothes straight to work with her, but her father made a reasonable point. What are they supposed to do with a pile of clothes right now? Let them find a place to stay first, then you can bring it. Rebecca Mitchell nodded. As usual, you're right, Daniel Mitchell. Though I'm not sure why I ran around like I was on fire myself. Her daughter chimed in with a smirk. And you dragged me out of bed, too. I'm going back to sleep. Olivia slept almost until noon. By the time she woke up, she'd completely forgotten about the Cooper family's tragedy. She moved through the house at a lazy pace, tidied up, washed the dishes, and was just about to settle in the hammock with a book when she heard her mother's voice outside. Rebecca Mitchell was always loud when she spoke, and when her husband would comment on it, she'd sigh dramatically and say, "It's an occupational hazard, Daniel Mitchell. Spend a day in that giant chicken coop where I work, you'd go deaf, too." Olivia ran to the gate to meet her mom and froze in surprise. Her mother was striding confidently ahead, and behind her walked Mariana and her mother. Both were dressed in white work coats, the standard uniform at the poultry plant where Rebecca worked. Seeing her daughter, Rebecca called out cheerfully. "And here's our Olivia. Honey, meet our guests. Aunt Catherine and Mariana will be staying with us for a bit until they get their housing situation sorted out." That evening, when the head of the household came home from work, he didn't even blink at the sight of their new house guests. Olivia later overheard him say to her mom, "You did the right thing, Rebecca, inviting the Coopers to stay. We'll manage. Who knows how long it'll take the city to get them proper housing." It ended up taking almost a year. For that entire time, Catherine and Mariana lived with them. The man who caused the fire didn't survive, doctors couldn't save him. And just like that, the family lost not only their home but also their main breadwinner. Victor had his flaws, especially his drinking, but he worked hard enough for 3 men. That's probably the only reason they kept him on the job. When he died, the whole town came to his funeral. His widow wailed for the entire neighborhood to hear. "Victor, my love, who have you left us with?" Only Mariana stood silent. Not a single tear. Like a statue, she stood by the fresh grave until Rebecca Mitchell finally had to pull her away. Later, when Daniel Mitchell commented on the girl's distant behavior. "She's strange, that Mariana. Her mother's in hysterics and she didn't shed a single tear. Victor may not have been perfect, but he was still her father." Rebecca shut him down quickly. "What do you expect from a 12-year-old? She hasn't fully processed the loss yet. People react to pain in different ways, just like they do with joy." The tragedy left a mark on Olivia, too. It stirred something in her heart, and the funeral hit her hard. It was the first time she'd ever been to one. Daniel Mitchell had grown up in a big family and always dreamed of having at least 3 kids of his own. He even built their house with that future in mind. He wanted every family member to have their own room. But life doesn't always follow plans. Their first baby, a boy, was born too early and didn't survive past 2 hours. The loss devastated Rebecca, and she didn't try again for another 6 years. Then came Olivia, over 4 kilos at birth and screaming loud enough to wake the whole hospital. Her parents were overjoyed but terrified of losing her, too. Daniel didn't leave all the parenting to his wife like most young dads. He learned how to swaddle, how to test bathwater temperature, how to mix formula and cook baby porridge. Olivia grew up wrapped in love and care. Of course, she sometimes wished for a sibling, but her parents never tried again. Rebecca would brush it off. "Daniel Mitchell, what siblings? We should be thinking about grandkids at this point." And Daniel would agree. "You're right, as always. We should thank God for giving us our smart, beautiful girl. Olivia is our pride and joy." To put it simply, Olivia wasn't just the center of their world, she was their world. But everything shifted when the Coopers moved in. Her mom was constantly fussing over them, doing everything she could to make them comfortable. "Catherine, is that bed okay for you? Or would the couch be better? It's softer and has more space." Credit where it's due, Mariana's mother was a humble, respectful woman. She'd clearly been through a lot in life and carried herself modestly. Mariana, on the other hand, seemed to love the attention. She was clearly enjoying the way total strangers were jumping to meet her every whim. That part really got under Olivia's skin, though she tried to keep her cool. What was much harder to accept was her parents' decision to have Mariana share her room. Olivia had tried to protest. "Mom, we have plenty of spare rooms. Why put her in mine?" But Rebecca Mitchell was unmoved. "It'll be more fun for both of you. Don't forget, Mariana just went through her first major trauma. She needs support right now. Try being her friend." Olivia was used to her mom's suggestions being more like commands. Once they were spoken, they were expected to be followed. So she shoved down her frustration and did her best to build a bridge. But from day one, Mariana made it clear she wasn't interested. Every time Olivia reached out, she got snapped at. "Why are you bothering me? I know what I'm doing." So Olivia tried a different approach, bribery in the form of small gifts. That actually seemed to work. A brand new makeup bag sparked a burst of enthusiasm from Mariana. "Oh wow, this is so cute. Are you really giving this to me?" Olivia replied honestly. "Yeah, it's no big deal. It's just makeup, not treasure." Mariana's eyes lit up, and without a hint of shame, she asked. "If you're that generous, how about letting me borrow that cute outfit over there?" She darted over to Olivia's woven wardrobe, yanked the doors open, and started rummaging through the neatly arranged clothes. Eventually, she pulled out a pantsuit Olivia had received as a birthday gift from her parents. Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Mariana, I've only worn that once. It was a gift. Maybe you'll find something else you like." Mariana threw the outfit onto a chair with a sneer. "Keep your stupid clothes, cheapskate." Olivia felt her face flush with embarrassment. She quickly backpedaled. "Mariana, you misunderstood. If you like it, you can wear it, seriously." Mariana beamed and slipped into the suit right then and there. When Rebecca Mitchell saw her in it, she was surprised, but she kept her cool. Later, she pulled Olivia aside and whispered. "Why is Mariana wearing the suit your father and I gave you?" Olivia answered with biting sarcasm. "Well, you always said we should share with the less fortunate. So I did." Her mother looked torn. "But honey, that was a special gift. And not a cheap one." Olivia didn't hold back. "Don't worry, Mom. She'll wear it for a bit and give it back. Honestly, Maybe you and Dad should run any future clothing purchases by Mariana first, just to make sure she approves. Mariana adjusted to her new environment quickly. She started taking Olivia's things without asking and treating the room like it was her own. Olivia kept quiet as long as she could, but when Mariana claimed her cell phone, the one her dad had gifted her, Olivia finally snapped. Mariana, if you take my stuff without asking again, I swear I'll beat the crap out of you. Back then, cell phones were still rare and expensive. Anyone who had one was considered lucky. The threat worked. Mariana backed off, at least for a while. Their relationship even started to resemble a cautious friendship. But the peace didn't last. One day, during a casual chat, Olivia made a passing comment about a classmate. Max Howard really gets physics. He's super smart. And his clothes? Always on point. Mariana nodded eagerly. Yeah, Max is awesome. The girls in our class are totally into him too. Olivia missed the warning sign in that word too. The next morning, the moment she walked through the school doors, she was met with whispers coming from every corner. Did you hear? Olivia Henderson's in love with Max. Not everyone bought it. What nonsense. Olivia's serious-minded. Max is all about the spotlight. But others started adding fuel to the fire with made-up drama. They say she confessed her love, and he rejected her right in front of everyone. Total humiliation. Olivia tried to trace the roots of the rumor, and it didn't take long before she figured it out, Mariana. That was the moment she knew she couldn't share the same space with her anymore. Back home, she gave her mother an ultimatum. Mom, I've had it with your charity crusade. It's bad enough that Mariana acts like this house is hers, but now she's spreading gossip about me at school. Move her to another room. Rebecca Mitchell tried climbing onto her usual moral high horse. Olivia, how can you talk like that about people who've lost everything? Olivia sliced the air with her hand, her anger sharp. Stop shaming me, Mom. I have nothing against Aunt Catherine, but Mariana, I've been putting up with her behavior for way too long. I can't take it anymore. Rebecca floundered. Sweetheart, just hang in there a little longer. Catherine said they'll be getting a place soon. As soon as that happens, they'll move out. And let's be honest, switching rooms now would look bad. People might think we're trying to throw them out. Olivia repeated her slicing gesture, barely containing her emotions. Mom, if Mariana doesn't move out of my room, I will. Rebecca tried to reason with her daughter, pleaded with her to reconsider, but Olivia made a very visible statement. She packed her things and moved into the guest room, the one usually reserved for the occasional visitor, making sure her message could be heard loud and clear by the guests. Daniel Mitchell didn't criticize her. In fact, he backed her up and had a few things of his own to say to his wife. Rebecca, kindness is great, but it needs boundaries. Good deeds should never come at someone else's expense. Right now, you're acting like a saint carved out of wood, and Olivia and I are the villains just because we want a say in our own home. Catherine Cooper must have overheard that speech, because the very next day, shortly after Olivia's dramatic relocation, she told Rebecca. We'll be moving out soon. They finally offered us an apartment, the one the old paramedic and his family used to live in. If something better had come up earlier, we'd have left already. After what we went through, I can't even think about living in a place with a wood-burning stove. I still have nightmares about the fire. It's a miracle Mariana and I made it out alive. Their move turned into a mini celebration. Daniel even took the day off work to help the widow pack. He borrowed a truck, called in a couple of friends, and they all helped load the furniture Rebecca had generously decided to give away. The moment Daniel raised a concern. Rebecca, are you sure we should be giving away perfectly good furniture? His wife snapped back like a seasoned charity worker. Oh, stop whining. Be happy we finally have space to get rid of the old stuff. Now we can finally buy new furniture. I already spotted a beautiful set in a shop downtown. And just like that, the saga of the fire victims came to an end. But, as time would prove, once someone gets comfortable in the role of tragic victim, they often stay there. Some fall into it by habit. Others? They use it. Mariana Cooper was the second type. After moving into their new apartment, she found excuses to drop by the Hendersons' house nearly every day. Rebecca Mitchell welcomed her warmly, fed her, and never let her leave empty-handed. Olivia, however, turned a blind eye. She was just relieved to finally be free of the friendship her mom had tried to force on her. Over time, Mariana's visits tapered off. The girls still saw each other at school, but both pretended the other didn't exist. Olivia had already made up her mind about her future before she even finished school. Law was a reliable path, lawyers were always in demand, so she set her sights on becoming one. By her fourth year of university, she decided to add another string to her bow and enrolled in an HR management course offered by the same institution. Her parents were incredibly proud of her accomplishments, and Daniel Mitchell couldn't help but brag whenever he got the chance. "Our Olivia's going places. She's either going to make it big in politics or crush it in the business world." Olivia had no intention of going into politics. Her dream was to build a career in business. After graduation, she landed a job at a major company that was all over the news. Olivia's professional life started with a bang, and not just at work. Around the same time, she met Kevin Morrison, and not long after, he proposed. Kevin worked at the same company but was 8 years older than Olivia. By the age of 30, he had already achieved a lot, both professionally and personally. Coming from a very poor family, he had managed to get an excellent education. At 16, he won a prestigious competition, and instead of spending the prize money on fun, he invested it in a smart business venture. That investment paid off and gave him a stable income, enough to eventually buy an apartment in the regional capital without much strain. The only thing missing in his life was a family. But Kevin had never been in a rush, he was holding out for the one. According to him, the moment he saw Olivia in the office, something inside him clicked. "You won't believe it, Olivia," he said once, "but I swear I heard the sound of an old-fashioned switch flipping. Just like the ones in my grandmother's house." Kevin wasn't like other guys. He didn't try to act tough or flashy. He had a natural charm, great conversation skills, and a sharp sense of humor. He dressed with taste, always stylish, never ridiculous. He knew his way around modern music but also loved the poetry of the Silver Age. Olivia had never met anyone quite like him. After just a few dates, she was completely smitten. 1 month of steady dating later, she told her parents she was getting married. But wanting to stick with tradition, she decided it was time for Kevin to meet the family. Rebecca Mitchell couldn't hide her joy, and word of the upcoming wedding spread through Millbrook faster than wildfire. By the time Kevin's car pulled up, the entire neighborhood had gathered to greet him. All that was missing were banners and fireworks. Kevin was visibly stunned. "Olivia, do you always greet guests like this? Or just the special ones?" She laughed. "Only the special ones." The meeting went perfectly. Her parents approved. Daniel Mitchell especially liked that Kevin came from humble beginnings, and that his grandmother still lived in a small village. The celebration was winding down when someone unexpected walked in. Mariana. Awkward and shy, she stepped inside and said with exaggerated surprise, "Oh. I didn't know you had guests. Aunt Rebecca, my mom sent me for some flour. The store closes at 6, and she's making pancakes." Rebecca jumped up. "Of course, Mariana. I just bought some yesterday, it's still unopened. Come in, have some tea with us." Mariana hesitated for effect, then walked in. She nodded politely at Olivia, but her eyes locked onto Kevin. He stood up, bowed slightly. "Nice to meet one of Olivia's friends." Olivia didn't correct him, no point getting into it. Meanwhile, the uninvited guest, after a few forced niceties, blatantly stared at Kevin. He didn't seem bothered and politely asked her about her life. Mariana gave short, nervous answers, clearly afraid to say something foolish. Then, when his questions ran out, she blurted. "Kevin, you remind me of a character from a movie. Can't remember the name, but everything worked out for him, like in a fairy tale. Honestly, I envy you. Do you have some secret recipe for success?" Kevin chuckled. "Mariana, first of all, envy's not the best quality to have. And as for the secret, yeah, I do have one. Happy to share it." Mariana leaned forward slightly, holding her breath. Kevin paused dramatically, then casually said, "If you want to achieve something in life, you have to work hard. That's the whole secret." Mariana looked visibly disappointed. She scoffed and stood up quickly. "Well, I guess my mom's waiting. Thanks for the tea." At the door, she turned back and, with a wink at Olivia, asked, "Friend, I hope I'm invited to the wedding." "Of course you are," Olivia replied, with little enthusiasm. She had no idea that this offhand promise would come back to haunt her. The wedding celebration took place at one of the best restaurants in town. Alongside close family, Olivia and Kevin had invited co-workers and friends. Mariana had insisted on being Olivia's maid of honor, even though Olivia had wanted to offer that role to a colleague she was close to. But in the end, she gave in to her mother's pleas. "Olivia, why are you being so stubborn? I just don't understand your attitude toward Mariana. Or have you become so full of yourself that you think it's beneath you to associate with a plasterer? What's next, you'll be ashamed of your own parents." Olivia found herself defending something that hadn't even crossed her mind. "Mom, that's nonsense. I didn't even know Mariana worked as a plasterer until you just said it. Her job has nothing to do with it. It's just that a maid of honor should be a real friend, someone close. Mariana is just an acquaintance." Rebecca Mitchell wiped away a tear. "Would it really hurt you to give in just this once? Mariana doesn't get a lot of happy moments in life. And now her mom is seriously ill. She spent her last bit of money on that dress just to be part of your wedding. Don't be so stingy, give her a little joy." Olivia gave in to her mother's guilt trip, a decision she would deeply regret. Mariana did an excellent job fulfilling her role. She looked stunning in a glamorous dress, with flawless makeup and a perfectly styled hairdo. The men at the reception couldn't take their eyes off her. Olivia was horrified to notice Kevin's sneaking glances too. She couldn't hold back. "Kevin, are you sure you picked the right bride?" The freshly minted husband chuckled. "Sorry, love, I got a little distracted. It's just, your friend has undergone quite the transformation." Olivia corrected him coldly. "Mariana is not my friend. She's just an acquaintance. Please remember that." In other words, what was supposed to be the happiest day of Olivia's life was clouded by Mariana's presence. But no one else seemed to notice how boldly the maid of honor was acting, only Olivia. The next day, the newlyweds left for their honeymoon, and the excitement of those romantic days quickly pushed all thoughts of Mariana Cooper from Olivia's mind. After they returned, every day brought Olivia nothing but joy. Kevin hadn't changed. He was just as caring, always anticipating her needs. They never got bored together, and even simple dinners felt like romantic evenings. But cracks started to show in their marriage before Sophia was even born. When Olivia told Kevin she was pregnant, his reaction stunned her. "Olivia, maybe we rushed into this. We haven't had time to fully grow into each other yet, and now a baby." She was shocked. "Are you seriously suggesting I get an abortion?" Kevin hesitated. "Why do you always jump to extremes? That's not what I meant. I love you. I don't think our marriage is a mistake. You're exactly the kind of woman I always dreamed of. But marriage isn't everything, there's another side to life too. Olivia understood immediately, he meant his career. She was outraged by how casually he said it. Kevin, are you seriously saying a job means more to you than a child? To some extent, yes, he said calmly, without a hint of shame. That was it for Olivia. Then maybe you should file for divorce, because I'm not sacrificing our baby for your ambitions. This is our child. Kevin laughed. What child? There's nothing there yet, he said, pointing to her belly. Just a cluster of cells. A zygote, if we're being scientific. Olivia snapped. You're the zygote. She stormed off to the bedroom and slammed the door. They made up the very next day, but the damage had been done. The crack between them never healed. In fact, it only grew wider with time. Kevin treated the birth of their daughter like it was just another item on a checklist. Fatherhood didn't excite him, and after a few sleepless nights, he started complaining non-stop. I had no idea being a dad was this hard. Now I truly feel for every father on the planet. Little Sophia turned out to be a restless baby, sleeping through the day and staying wide awake all night. The real nightmare began when she started teething. Her screams drove Kevin up the wall. He'd paced the apartment, pleading with Olivia. Olivia, do something. I can't take this anymore. To give him a chance to sleep, Olivia started locking herself and the baby in the bathroom at night. But even that didn't help, and Kevin began spending more and more nights away from home. The sleepless nights and constant arguments left Olivia completely drained. She stopped taking care of herself, and Kevin didn't hold back his criticism. Olivia, you look like you're 40. Clean yourself up. I'm embarrassed to be seen with you. Olivia tried to hide the toll of exhaustion, but it didn't work. And right in the middle of that fragile time in her life, Mariana reappeared. She called Olivia out of the blue, starting off gently. Olivia, I'm sorry to bother you. First of all, congratulations on your baby girl. I didn't get a chance to say that before. I've been living in Poland for over a year. Got married, didn't work out. But hey, live and learn, right? I still believe I'll find happiness. Mariana kept talking in that same tone for a few more minutes, and Olivia was surprised at how much her speech had changed. It hadn't even been 2 years since the wedding, and yet the once silly girl sounded different. But what surprised Olivia even more was when Mariana showed up at their home. She warned Kevin in advance. You remember Mariana? The one who was my bridesmaid? Kevin smirked. Of course. Women like her are hard to forget. His remark stung, but Olivia let it slide. She needs help. She's out of work. Maybe there's something for her at our company? Kevin asked. What's her background? I'm not totally sure. My mom said she studied to be a plasterer, but then also got certified as a clerk or something. She'll stop by tomorrow, you can ask her yourself. Kevin nodded thoughtfully. Well, if she has experience with paperwork, we actually do need someone like that right now. And just like that, Mariana got hired. Olivia stopped thinking about her. Occasionally, she'd ask. How's Cooper doing? Settling in okay? Kevin would shrug. She's fine. Getting the hang of it. Olivia didn't bother reminding him that Mariana was not a friend. She was just relieved to have her out of her life. But the collapse of her family was creeping closer. And the worst part? It happened on Sophia's 2nd birthday. They'd planned a quiet celebration with just a few people. Kevin, looking slightly uncomfortable, gave her a heads up. Mariana's coming too. Olivia's face twisted in irritation. Did she invite herself, or did you do the honors? Kevin fidgeted before admitting. She kind of invited herself. I couldn't say no. Then, without warning, he launched into a passionate defense. Olivia, don't be so harsh. Mariana's had a tough life. She's a little different, but she's not a stranger to us. Olivia waved him off. Fine, if it's that important to you, let her come. But honestly, I'm not thrilled. Mariana's always been a bad omen to me. Like a black swan. Kevin lit up. That's a beautiful metaphor. I'm keeping that one. Mariana arrived with a giant teddy bear. Sophia was thrilled and spent the evening eyeing their guest with curiosity. Toward the end of the night, Mariana sighed dramatically. Oh, I really don't feel like dragging myself home. Olivia pretended not to hear, but Kevin perked up immediately. Mariana, stay over. We'll head to work together tomorrow. Olivia couldn't object, after all, the apartment belonged to Kevin. Mariana lit up at Kevin's offer. Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that the two of them had staged the whole thing, like it was all rehearsed. Still, she didn't want to ruin her daughter's birthday with a confrontation. Without saying a word, she went to put Sophia to bed, who was clinging tightly to the plush bear. Olivia hoped Kevin would pick up on why she was upset. She didn't have the strength to say out loud what she really thought, that inviting Mariana to stay the night was a huge mistake. She figured she'd wait for the right moment. But she was so exhausted, she fell asleep sitting in a chair next to her daughter's crib. Strange noises woke her up. Moving quietly, Olivia slipped out of the nursery on tiptoes. She peeked into the bedroom. Kevin wasn't there. The bed was neatly made, like no one had touched it. Her heart sank. Where could he have gone in the middle of the night? The noises gave her a pretty clear idea. Olivia stormed into the kitchen and flipped the light switch. The sudden brightness flooded the room. Mariana jumped and shrieked. Kevin! What the hell? Kevin looked completely stunned. Olivia wanted to scream, but she stood frozen in place. Her legs felt glued to the floor. Mariana, unlike Kevin, recovered quickly. Clearly, this wasn't her first time in a scene like this. Unable to meet Olivia's eyes, Mariana yelled. What are you staring at? Yeah, I'm sleeping with your husband. You think you're the only one who deserves a little fun in life? She tried to push past Olivia. Nothing bad will happen to you if I take a bite out of your perfect little family. Didn't your mom ever teach you to share? Let me through. Mariana shoved Olivia aside and slammed the front door behind her. Kevin suddenly sprang into action. Where did she go? It's the middle of the night, what if something happens? He scrambled to pull on jeans and a shirt, while Olivia stared at him in disbelief. Kevin, are you seriously more worried about her than about me and your daughter? He froze. You haven't mattered to me as a woman for a long time. I'm surprised you haven't noticed. The door slammed again. Kevin didn't ask for forgiveness. He didn't offer excuses or say it was over with Mariana. He didn't even pretend to be sorry. In his mind, he was right, and he acted like it. Olivia didn't beg or plead. She picked up the phone and called her father. Dad, can you come get me and Sophia? Daniel Mitchell simply asked. So, the fairy tale's over? His daughter's voice was flat. Yeah, Dad. Something like that. Only once they were in the car did she briefly explain what had happened. Daniel cursed under his breath. Wouldn't have pegged him for a scumbag at first glance. Too bad I didn't catch him in the act, I'd have gladly rearranged his face. Olivia stayed with her parents for nearly 3 months, slowly trying to recover from the shock. Strangely enough, Kevin never called. Never tried to reach out. Never asked to see Sophia. Then, one day, Mariana showed up at the Mitchells' doorstep. Rebecca was in the yard, cleaning up. The moment she saw Mariana, she snapped. What are you doing here, you snake? Mariana tried to play the victim. Aunt Rebecca, that kind of language could get you in trouble. Rebecca didn't back down. Don't call me Aunt Rebecca. Not anymore. Now get lost. She grabbed a broom and chased Mariana off the property. Mariana stumbled backward, shouting, "This whole family's crazy. I just came to let Olivia know that Kevin's filing for divorce. You might want to tell her not to fight it." Rebecca flung a small trash bin after her. Mariana let out a shriek and ran off. From her bedroom window, Olivia had watched the whole thing unfold. But it didn't make her feel any better, not even a little bit of satisfaction that the villain had been publicly shamed. When Rebecca came back inside, she sat down next to her daughter and gently tried to comfort her. "Olivia, don't give up. Time will pass, and all this pain will fade. You'll find happiness again, I believe that." Olivia leaned into her mother's shoulder and burst into tears. "Thank you, Mom. If it weren't for you and Dad, I don't know how I'd get through this." Rebecca's voice broke, too. "Don't thank me, blame me. I was the one who let that snake into our home. I used to think kindness could fix anyone. But now I know, some people don't deserve mercy." Since they had a small child, the divorce had to go through court. Kevin, as a final jab, decided to twist the knife a little deeper. He showed up to the hearing with Mariana. She was so brazen that she actually tried to talk to Olivia. "So, how are you? Finally wrapped your head around the fact that Kevin's out of your league? Too bad he has to pay child support until Sophia turns 18. Though let's be honest, who knows if she's even really his?" Olivia felt her hands clench. One more word and she was ready to throw punches right there in the courthouse. Through gritted teeth, she hissed, "Shut up, you snake. Your day will come, Mariana. One day you'll end up with nothing." Mariana laughed right in her face. "Not a chance. Kevin's hooked. For good." It took every ounce of Olivia's willpower not to take the bait. Mariana spent the entire wait before the hearing trying to provoke her, but Olivia stayed quiet. Back home, Olivia felt hollow. She looked at her mom and said bitterly, "It's done. I'm free now. I can do whatever I want." Rebecca Mitchell tried to lighten the mood. "Good. Now you owe nothing to anyone. It's a fresh start. And listen, I can help you find a job." Her parents begged her to stay under their roof, but Olivia knew she couldn't remain in Millbrook. Staying meant risking another encounter with the woman she couldn't stand to even see. After some trial and error, she found a job online in a neighboring state. Her parents, though disappointed, accepted her decision. Daniel Mitchell said gently, "If you think it's best to go, we won't stop you. Leave Sophia with us for now. No point dragging a little child along until you're settled. Once you've got everything in place, you can bring her home." Turns out, Daniel had an old army buddy in the city Olivia was moving to. He called him up, and the man promised to help. He kept that promise, and personally introduced Olivia to Theodore Williams, who ran the housing company where she eventually started working. Piece by piece, Olivia began rebuilding her life. The job didn't offer the same career potential as her old one, but it paid well and gave her stability. She was given a company apartment as a valued specialist, and once she got on her feet, she brought Sophia to live with her. A year and a half later, Olivia met someone. Anthony Henderson was a respected man in town, the head of a logistics company. Fate brought them together by chance. He came to her office to negotiate terms for a contract. Since Olivia was the company's legal counsel, Theodore Williams asked her to join the meeting. Anthony left a strong first impression. He was professional, straightforward, and only spoke up when it mattered. Business negotiations didn't wrap up in one sitting, so Anthony visited the office a couple more times. On his last visit, he surprised her. "Olivia, I'm way past the age of chasing dates, but I'd really like to see you outside of work." She smiled. "I'm not exactly waiting for Prince Charming either. I'll say yes, on one condition. It'll have to be a short date. I have a little daughter." Anthony exhaled, clearly relieved. Sounds like we understand each other perfectly. That's a good sign. They dated for nearly a year. Anthony had his own share of past heartbreak, so neither of them rushed anything. He lived in a 2-story house just outside the city. After a few dates, he invited Olivia and Sophia to visit. By then, Sophia was 4 years old, curious and clever beyond her age. She took to Anthony's home right away, exploring the yard like she owned the place, then inspecting every room inside. The adults watched her with amusement, waiting to see what she'd say. And Sophia didn't disappoint. "Mom, are you going to marry Uncle Anthony so we can live in this house?" Olivia blinked in surprise, completely speechless. Anthony laughed out loud. "Well said, Sophia. Straight to the point. Out of the mouths of babes, huh?" Although Sophia had clearly made up her mind, the adults weren't rushing to make things official. Olivia believed it was better to take their time and really get to know one another. Anthony wasn't pushing her, even though he truly wanted a real family of his own. Then one weekend, Olivia and her daughter came over for a visit, and simply never left. Olivia fiercely protected her newfound happiness from outside interference. She didn't feel the same wild passion for Anthony as she once did for Kevin, but she trusted him completely. What made her the happiest was how quickly Anthony and Sophia bonded. One day, Olivia overheard her daughter ask him, "Can I call you Dad? Uncle Anthony sounds weird." Holding his breath, Anthony responded, his voice shaky with emotion. "Of course you can call me Dad. I've been calling you my daughter in my heart for a long time now." The only shadow over Olivia's peaceful life was their unfulfilled hope of having a second child. Both she and Anthony dreamed of having a son, but despite several attempts, it just wasn't happening. Doctors couldn't find anything wrong. Not long ago, they'd even gone to a private clinic in the region for a thorough checkup. All results came back clear, no health issues on either side. The specialist they saw offered a different kind of advice. "You know, even in the toughest cases, miracles happen. Maybe try changing your environment, go somewhere romantic." Anthony loved the idea and immediately dove into planning their getaway. "Olivia, what about the Dominican Republic? Or do you prefer the Emirates?" She smiled. "Both are beautiful, but it's way too hot for me. I want something softer, quieter. What about Michigan? I've heard it's magical this time of year. Sophia can go stay with Grandma and Grandpa." So, the plan was set. All that remained was to make it happen. But just when everything seemed perfect, fate returned in the form of Mariana. Olivia tried not to think about her, but knowing she was nearby kept her on edge. She avoided her as best she could, but Mariana wasn't the kind of person who could quietly watch others succeed. She'd landed a job at a hotel and got her young son into daycare. By all accounts, life was stable. But Mariana's nature just wouldn't let her rest. Other people's happiness made her itch. She quickly settled into her new job and began snooping around, asking discreet questions about Olivia. When she found out Olivia was not only happily married again but living in a luxurious home, it hit her hard. Old insecurities and deep envy bubbled up. "What's wrong with me?" she thought bitterly. "Why does that boring plain Jane get everything while I'm stuck struggling?" She'd taken the hotel job specifically to meet someone, ideally a traveling businessman. But time hadn't been kind to Mariana. At 35, her looks had faded. If anyone noticed her at all, it was the local drunks. The final straw came when she learned Olivia had gone on vacation with her husband. Mariana started popping into the office, hoping for a chance encounter. She even cozied up to Grace Thompson, the boss's secretary, to get information. Grace told her, "You're wasting your time looking for Henderson. She's on vacation. Won't be back until July." "Funny, I didn't know you two knew each other." Mariana gave a vague smile. "We're from the same hometown. Used to be friends." But Olivia's always been a bit of a snob. Thinks she's too good for the rest of us. Grace frowned. Doesn't sound like the Olivia I know. She's been with us nearly 10 years. Always professional, always kind. People from other companies even come here just to get her advice. Mariana smirked. She's good at pretending. Trust me, she's not what she seems. Grace didn't want to get dragged into gossip and politely ended the conversation. Mariana left, but she kept coming back. And eventually, persistence paid off. One day, she walked right into Olivia. They hadn't seen each other in over a month. In that time, Olivia had grown more radiant, refreshed by her vacation. Mariana's voice dripped with envy. Looks like the break did wonders for you. Olivia snapped, tired of playing nice. Mariana, what do you want from me? Stop following me. Mariana blinked innocently. Following you? Please. You're not that interesting. Then why are you constantly showing up at the office? I work here, remember? Or did you forget we're in the same company now? Olivia turned to walk away, she didn't need this ruining her mood. But Mariana caught up in the hallway. Olivia, aren't you the least bit curious why I left Kevin? Olivia answered honestly. No. Like I said before, I don't care what happens to either of you. She started walking again, but Mariana grabbed her arm. Just wait a minute. I know this is awkward, but I wanted to ask a favor. Olivia felt a familiar tension rise in her chest. What is it? Mariana gave a dramatic sniffle. I'm in a really bad place. I have no one. My mom died 2 years ago, and now it's just me and my son, struggling to get by. Olivia shot back with sarcasm. You had a husband. Let him take care of you. Mariana wiped away a tear. Kevin kicked us out when he found out Christopher wasn't his. Don't think badly of me, though. I'm not some homewrecker. I was at a party with an old friend from Poland, had a little too much to drink, and when I came to. Olivia pulled her arm away. Mariana, I'm not interested in the details of your personal life. And if you're trying to guilt-trip me into handing over money, don't waste your breath. She was shaking with anger and stayed that way long after the encounter. Knowing Mariana's personality, Olivia understood she wouldn't give up easily, but no matter how hard she tried to think of a solution, nothing came to mind. Later that evening, an unpleasant surprise was waiting for her at home. The moment she stepped through the front door, she heard the unmistakable laugh of her stalker. A cold knot formed in her chest. God, there's no escaping her. She's even gotten in here. Doing her best to stay calm, Olivia walked into the spacious living room and found Anthony serving Mariana herbal tea. When he saw his wife, he greeted her cheerfully. Olivia, while you were out, I thought I'd offer your friend some of my healing tea. Then, turning back to their guest, he picked up the conversation. Mariana, you wouldn't believe how peaceful it is in Michigan. It's like therapy for the soul. Too bad we missed blueberry season, they say it's great for your health. Olivia stared at Cooper, and under that gaze, Mariana visibly wilted. When she finally pushed her teacup away, Olivia asked with a mocking smile. Well, had your fill of tea? Mariana gave her a crooked grin. Yeah, thanks a bunch. Then let me walk you out. Anthony, catching the edge in his wife's tone, realized this guest was anything but welcome. He excused himself quickly. I'll go warm up dinner. When you're done chatting, come join me in the kitchen. Olivia shot him a look that said everything. Mariana won't be joining us. She's full, on healing tea. Knowing she had to act fast, Olivia grabbed Mariana's arm and, forgetting all rules of hospitality, began dragging her toward the door. Mariana resisted. Olivia, stop shoving me. I can leave on my own. What's your problem? Once they reached the gate, Olivia dropped all pretense. my problem? No, I'm fine. The real question is, what's your game? And my gut, which has never failed me, tells me you're circling back for round 2. That's why you showed up here, uninvited. Mariana gave a nervous laugh. You're nuts. Totally paranoid. How does your husband even live with you? She shouldn't have brought up Anthony. That pushed Olivia over the edge. If you ever come near this house again, I can't promise I'll stay calm. In fact, I suggest, for your own safety, that you leave this city entirely. You already ruined my life once. You wrecked Kevin's too. Isn't that enough for you? Don't you get it? Mariana smiled, but not like someone hurt or regretful. It was the cold, smug smile of a devil. For a second, fear flickered inside Olivia. Mariana felt it. But Olivia shook it off and stared her down. Here's my advice, don't let me see you again. Apparently, the message finally got through. Mariana disappeared from Olivia's life. About a month later, Grace Thompson came into Olivia's office with a puzzled expression. Olivia, do you happen to know where your friend disappeared to? Olivia raised an eyebrow. What friend? The secretary looked annoyed. Cooper. She vanished, no resignation, didn't turn in her keys, left everything hanging. What kind of person does that? If something turns up missing during inventory, guess who's left to clean up the mess? Olivia shrugged. Sorry, Grace. Can't help you. Grace grumbled and left, muttering about irresponsible workers. Olivia leaned back in her chair, stretched out her legs, and smiled. For once, she wasn't worried about Mariana. Or Grace. That morning, she'd gone to the women's clinic, and the doctor had confirmed what she suspected. Well, my dear, the doctor had said, you were right. You're pregnant.